news that happened earlier that we want to talk about real quick before we continue the show. Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets have reached an impasse in their contract talks, according to Sham and Adrian Wojnarowski. So now Kyrie Irving could opt out his contract June 29th or June 30th and become an unrestricted free agent and leave his man seven behind and leave the Brooklyn Nets if they do not agree to a max extension. Obviously, they could do it down the line if he's a free agent, but they were trying to get Kyrie locked up, and talks have impasse. And now there's been, rumors and speculations out there that the Lakers and the Knicks and also the Clippers are expected to pursue Kyrie Irving in free agency if he does opt out. So I wanted to ask you guys this question. Should Kyrie Irving leave the Nets, or should the Nets give in and give Kyrie the full max extension? Kyle, I'm going to give it to you because I know you were chomping at the bit for this. Go ahead, man. Take it away.
Listen, this is a man who walked away, who wanted out of Cleveland after he won the championship there, who stood in center court and pledged his undying devotion to Boston and then left there. And said in his post-game press conference that basically, he would be the one to help shape this team and run the team and so forth. Listen, we all know at this point that Kyrie is a very uber talented man, basketball player, but he makes a lot of questionable decisions. He has a very odd perspective on a lot of things, and it affects his basketball priorities. Sometimes I think that his basketball priorities are not as high as they should be. Listen, at this point, talent can take you but so far. You know what I mean? You have to have the work ethic. You have to have the availability. You have to have it has to be your top priority when you are playing, especially when you have an employer, you have a contract, and you're making a lot of money. I think a lot of teams are going to be, privately at least, they're going to be kind of really scared to even jump into that and be afraid that they'll be the next Cleveland, Boston, Brooklyn left in Kyrie's wake. You know what I mean? If you want locker room drama, if you want somebody who is going to miss a good chunk of the season for one reason or another, or somebody who claims they probably don't necessarily need a coach as long as your top players are on point. If you want a player who is going to, publicly call out his teammates, hey, then he's your man. Hey, go for him. You know what I mean? But, I think it would do him some good to go to a bottom feeder team just to see what it's like, to really realize, okay, you know what? You're not just going to constantly get everything handed to you, and it's not always going to constantly go your way. Play team ball, think in team mentality, be a leader, and stay on the court when you're supposed to be on the court. And I don't think the Knicks would go after, it's nice news, little news flash and everything. And for a second, my ears perked up and I'm like, Coach Tibbs would pull out all the rest of his hair by after the first 10 games. There's no way, so yeah.
I think it'd be really entertaining if he went to LA though.
Oh yeah, right.
Not the Clippers, but the Lakers. That would be,
oh man,
wow, that would be perfect. Like I would be watching every LA game at that point.
Yeah, perfect. That would just be people would confuse that with the show TV. That's on HBO Max right now about them. Yeah. I think that's what would happen.
Yeah, reality TV.
Is this real? Am I really seeing this?
I think the behind the scenes.
I would be far more interesting.
Yeah, bigger, more interesting.
Yeah, that's when the real game starts.
Yeah, behind in the Lakers locker room. I ain't got nothing to add beyond that.
Yeah. Oh, This is tough for me because I'm a Nets fan. I'm a Kyrie supporter. But man,
I couldn't tell.
Okay, see the Nets, they are in a very, very tough predicament. Because if you do not bring Kyrie Irving back, you're gonna piss off that 7-foot monster in KD. And when the Nets got KD and Kyrie Irving, they were a package deal. Kevin Durant is wearing a Brooklyn Nets uniform because of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie convinced him, yo, let's go to Brooklyn. Let's create a culture. Let's start something over there besides going to the Knicks that already have a fan base, that already have a culture. May not be a winning culture, but they still have a popular culture. So it's like, okay, you let Kyrie walk, you could potentially lose out on KD and Kyrie in one offseason. Because if Kyrie doesn't come back to the team, who's to say Kevin Durant doesn't go to front office and be like, get me out of here. I want to trade.
Send me back to Golden State.
He'd be like, hey, look, we'll take Wiggins and Poole and whoever else.
Oh, hell no. Hold on. No.
Hey, for KD,
I will storm the gates. I'll be a one-man riot.
Hold on, time out. Side conversation. You mean to tell me if the Nets came to you Golden State Warrior fanboy, if they came,
listen. Say, hey, so you're going to trade two players that have really contributed this past season, especially in the postseason, that are younger, to go get this guy who left you in the first place?
Man, you must be fooled because anybody presenting you, hey, we want KD wants to go to your team and we have KD available. You want to make an offer to trade?
Well, listen, that's the same argument with Kyrie, right? You're going to have somebody who's going to be like, oh, hell yeah, we can deal with all the drama that comes along with him.
All
we want
30
him.
teams in the NBA are going to trade for KD. What do you mean? It's because Kevin Durant.
That's
maybe
what I'm saying.
29 teams. I mean, like,
yeah.
I think that
the Nets, yeah.
No, 28 then.
Like
I don't think Golden State would ever. No, honestly, I think the Suns would be better off doing it, but that would be an interesting team.
No, thanks. We don't want DeAndre Ayton. Y'all could keep he could go somewhere else like the Magic.
Oh.
I mean, we got KD for Ayton.
Well, listen.
What are we trying to go back in the lottery or something?
Well, listen.
Fair enough. You know the only two irreplaceable pieces out there. So.
Well, listen. The Nets still have Ben Simmons, so don't fear, don't fret.
Okay, that's not funny.
True.
That's not funny.
That's not funny. He's our man. If he can't do it, no one can.
I don't know. It's tough, man, because like I was looking at how many games Kyrie played in a Nets uniform, and he's missed 123 games and played 103. Now we're not trying to talk about the vaccine or anything. Yeah, Kyrie. Because I was watching First Take, Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins, who've been getting on Kyrie Irving's ass this whole year, even said the vaccine thing was stupid. So I'm not gonna go with that conversation. Go look it up. And again, it was. But taking that out the factor, Stephen A. brought up some good points. He's like, take out the vaccine out. Last year, when COVID happened, they went in the bubble. Kyrie said, let's not play in the bubble. That could have caused not only him, but other NBA players a lot of money. The first year, you get hurt. Year 2, KD comes back. You take 2 weeks off, and we see you out partying with your family. And then you need another couple of weeks off because you were traumatized by the riots. And then you decide not to show up for a couple more games. So Kyrie, I mean, you don't, brother, man, you do not have a good reputation, especially as you mentioned, Kyle. Boston, you said, hey, I want to stay there. But then you don't return any of the Boston Celtics calls if they're trying to talk about contract extensions for you. You don't return none of their calls.
He's a liar.
You leave LeBron James high and dry. And it's like, yo, Kyrie, man. People are really questioning, okay, because he said, hey, I'm not leaving my man 7 anywhere. But looks like you might, because we all knew. Listen, the Nets are like, we're not going to give Kyrie Irving a 4-year deal. And I even said that too. If I'm the Nets, I don't give him a 4-year fully guaranteed deal. I'll give him a 4-year deal, but it has to be incentives. Like, hey, you need to play 60 plus games to get your full money. And if he does not want to agree with that, then like, what do you do? But you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if Kyrie leaves, you're going to piss off KD. So it's kind of like, we know the NBA is a player-driven league. You don't want to set a bad example as a franchise to give into a player's demands who, for more reasons than not, has not been fully reliable towards you. And he was the main reason why this team got assembled. So I really don't know the answer for the Nets. One part of me says, hey, you know what? Because you don't want to lose KD and piss him off, just give him the max. But if you do give him the max and say he decides to take 2 weeks off because for personal reasons or whatnot, or you didn't feel like coming to work, then you just KD's out there balling up by himself with Ben Simmons, and he just like, bro, I didn't come to Brooklyn for this. We came to Brooklyn to win a championship, and you're not even out here helping me out. And they ain't no mandate stopping you. So like, bro, come on, you know what I'm talking about. So it's I don't really know the answer. It's a tough situation for the Nets, but I'll tell you what. I mean, if he does decide to walk, you're gonna be getting a guy in his last 3 seasons averaged 27 points a game and was part of 40, 50, 90 club wearing that uniform. Just saying, but his 100% full in participation is a question, and this is coming from a Kyrie fan. Kyrie can't be taking no 2 weeks off no more, bro. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. You looking bad out here in these streets. Okay. 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks every couple of months, no? You know, listen, all I can say is I'm sure Kevin Durant knows how flaky he is. Friend or not, personal connection off the court or not, he's got to know how flaky he is. So he knew what he was getting into, and now he knows what he's in. And, you know, listen, if he wants to leave because the Nets decide they don't want to keep his boy, hey, what does that mean? I mean, you know, you're still getting paid to play ball, and you're doing it pretty damn well, and you're not missing games because you don't feel like playing.
But you put the Nets in a really tough rebuilding situation for years to come because they traded all their assets to get them. Especially they traded even more assets to get James Harden, which Kyrie and KD wanted.
That's the Nets way because they've done this before. They did that with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett.
And Kevin Garnett,
they mortgaged their future. They like going for the big swing. So, you know, they know what the chance of the risk is.
What is Kyrie expressing interest to leave Brooklyn? I know that they're not having progress on talks, but is he saying he wants to leave Brooklyn?
From what Sham said, because I read his tweet, his article that he posted on Twitter, Kyrie wants to stay in Brooklyn. I mean, he chose to come to Brooklyn because that's close to Jersey. He lives in Jersey, and he just goes across the bridge to play in front of his family because his family all lives out in Jersey. And Kyrie would say, "Hey, I want to stay here."
With the exception of this last year, of course.
Yeah, again, our vaccine mandate aside, you know, but it goes to he wants to stay. But I feel like he also wants his money. He's like, I want to stay here, but I want you guys to give me the max. Right. And I don't know the contract talks. If the Nets say, hey, we'll give you the max, but we're not going to give it to you fully guaranteed. Here's stipulations and incentives for you to get your max if you play X amount of games. And you shouldn't even have to do that for a star player. That shows you how much trouble, you know, that he is. I mean, when KD signed his deal, I don't think he had incentives. Hey, KD, you got to play 65 games to get your $30 million plus this year. You know KD's going to show up. If he's not hurt, KD's going to play for you. So Kyrie wants to stay in New York. Now, if he doesn't stay with the Nets, him going to the Knicks will be quite intriguing because number one, it's going to piss off that man over there. And two, you will have, you know, little Nets and Knicks. Every time when the Knicks play the Nets, Kyrie's going to look to drop 40 on their ass. I'm telling you that right now. But it's mainly I'm going to be happy to piss that man off over there. If Kyrie decides to go to the Knicks,
right,
it's going to piss Kyle off so much.
Right. Well.
Hey, Kyle, you're getting a great player though. If he decides to go to you, you're getting a very great player.
We would be getting a great player if he decides to play all regular season games, and if he, you know, if he doesn't fall off the flat Earth, you know, and if he, you know, we'll be getting a great player. But you know, there's a big if.
Yeah.
Off
the flat Earth. Oh, Kyrie, man, you making me look bad. I can't keep defending you no more, man. Get your shit together, brother.